We're having a Transcribathon here today. It's sponsored by Early Modern Manuscripts Online at the Folger Shakespeare Library. And the goal is to transcribe collectively a 600-page manuscript. The manuscript we're transcribing is called the Trevelyon Miscellany of 1608. It includes all sorts of biblical extracts, histories, chronologies, morals, posies, patterns. So it's a very eclectic manuscript. And we think that Thomas Trevelyan, the creator, made it for the edification and entertainment of his friends and family. But we won't really know until we have the entire text transcribed and we can search it and study it in a machine-readable way.
I was delighted to have this opportunity for my students to work with Heather Wolfe. We start out the course that I teach, the history of the book from manuscript to print. We start out investigating medieval manuscripts, and students are exposed to various scripts from Gothic, pre-Gothic, all the way to Renaissance humanist script, and they start to understand the development of letter forms. It was perfect because then we had our chance to do the Transcribathon, and students felt that this was a fairly easy handwriting to read. But I think they enjoyed even more was the paleography and the excitement of spelling and how different spelling can be depending on the mood of the writer or the time period.
Can anyone guess what this word is? Uncle, right. And it is spelled V-N-C-K with a cute little curly Q, E-L. So we don't want you to modernize that spelling. We want you to spell it out, type it out, V-N-C-K-E-L. The goal of MO is to transcribe all early modern English manuscripts. We're doing it at scale. And because of that, we need a whole army of transcribers. When we're crowdsourcing in this way, we're having every page done independently 3 times. And that allows us then to correct or vet the transcriptions in a much more efficient way.
Like add a space there, for example.
I think you've done
I would do summer colon space. But if you think that's a space there, like this is more an art than a science.
Yes.
And we want to see what other people think, because then we compare it. I've worked on developing the expanded version of Dromio, which is the software we're using today. What Dromio does is compare different transcriptions to see what's like or not. The idea is it actually overlays one transcription upon another, and you see where it lines up and where it doesn't. So where it lines up, it's in black, and where it isn't, it'll show it in red.
It reinforced the real importance of group work, that there's no way that a single person could tackle the entire corpus of early modern manuscripts. There's no way that a single person could do the entire multi-100-page Trevelyan manuscript his or herself. So it was a great example for the students of how collaboration is really crucial in this kind of work. In the Transcribathon, in that very time, in that 5 hours that we were there, that work is actually going online into the Early Modern Manuscripts Online project that the Folger is running. It will actually become part of that record, and the work that they did might, I hope, inspire other people who aren't specialists, members of the public, fans of early modern literature, to also sign up and engage in the Early Modern Manuscripts Online project.
We want to make these texts able to be studied alongside printed texts. And what I feel will happen is that there are many different voices that are in the manuscript text that do not appear in print. Women's voices, for example. We have thousands of letters written by women, miscellanies with their poetry. We have recipe books with medicinal and food recipes, culinary recipes. So there's so much there showing how literate women were and how important they were in the running of the domestic household. And so we want to bring out those voices and have those studied alongside those of the printed voices that we're already quite familiar with.
I think students are often spoon-fed what something is and what it means. This is a chance to do historical work themselves in the first person. They also see how people from this time, from 400 or 500 years ago, wrote things, exactly how they wrote it, without any intervention, without any people telling them what it is. It's this sort of first person learning, I think, they get to do that they maybe wouldn't in another way.
it's really cool for my students just to see an actual artifact from the period itself. In my course, the texts that we're reading are modern editions. They're all uniformly printed, modern typeface, footnotes, modern books. So it's really easy to lose touch with what an actual artifact object from that time period looked like, felt like. So for the students to see the pages, the images, the actual words written in the manuscript, I think was really, really powerful for them in taking them back to the time period.
I think that manuscripts have always been seen as something you don't study until you get to graduate school, and I don't quite understand why, because I think part of the liberal arts education is being provided with the opportunity to discover new things, and manuscripts are the ultimate treasure chest for discovering new things.
The Transcribathon reinforced what I've been trying to teach throughout the semester, which is that every book has its own story, whether it's printed or manuscript, or as we saw, a combination of both print and manuscript. Every book is an object that tells something about the owner, about the audience for it, about the printer, about the time that it was made, and why did it survive. And I think students are drawn to this kind of mystery.